this is really a question of leadership. Adopting technology is a long-term plan, and I guess if I may use the word, if you are the head of the organization or CFO, is your focus on next quarter or your focus on next 3 years? If you refer back to what Nasir was saying about the trend, therefore, to that question will be, the leader of the business unit realizing the trend of how AI can disrupt the business model, then naturally the business leader or the head of the organization, in our case, will raise a flag, say that this technology we have to adopt it, otherwise we will be overtaken by the market. So yes, normally the head of the organization realizing the trend of that technology and how it can negatively impact its competitiveness. If you don't do something now, because the impact will come very quickly. So yes, normally the head of the organization will take the leadership role. Yeah.
Would any of the panelists like to add anything?
Just to add on SB's perspective, right? The CEO or deputy CEO would typically be the visionary guy, who believes that their organization, the MNC or PLC, will take the lead. And typically in such a setting, they will always have an innovation department, right? Innovation division, or starting to develop some kind of blueprint to have that. So I think I think Mira can speak more on that, but we are actually developing a roadmap for PLCs and corporations to build their own digital AI blueprint in the next 3 years. So essentially, if you are actually part of this network with Mira, you are able to get the opportunity to get some value-added, blueprint in this case. So for us, it's very simple. The leadership, right? Deputy CEO typically takes charge, or the CEO handles the day-to-day thing, and then the head of innovation, and then followed by what you call the business units. So it works that way. Couple of business units, head of innovation, and then deputy CEO that will look into the whole digital transformation. Without that structure, without the leadership, the exercise can just be a one-off one. You're just a user, you're not a creator. But if you decide to be a creator, you need this triangular leadership or at least responsibility or structure. There are 3 levels through adoption of AI. Number 1 is awareness and understanding. So we have put in place what you call 5 learning tracks of AI. You get to know what is happening relating to the companies in your industry. That means, let's say you are dealing with a certain sector, manufacturing. What are the other manufacturers who are AI-driven doing elsewhere in Europe, in Israel, in US, etc., right? So you get to know, if you go through this track, you'll know, not theoretical, but physically and tangibly you'll know, in the same industry, this company is doing this, using drones, using video, using natural language, using chatbots, So there'll be real life case study to talk about what your peers, larger peers, overseas peers are doing. So that gives you evidence that whatever I say here, people already doing that 3 years ago, right? So that awareness is important. So there are 5 learning tracks that put you through this awareness program. It can be done through MIA, it can be done through Mira. We roll out all these programs to keep people aware of what's the latest trends, but by specific to your situation. It can be in-house, round table, no problem. So after you go through that, you go through what you call the Google's method, or what you call design sprint. Okay, it's like those agile method, design sprint in 5 days, not 5 months, not 5 years. In 5 days, you will know your pain point, you will know what are the needs of the organization, you will know what's the solution, you know how to do the blueprint, you know how to do the roadmap. 5 days, from ideation to prototyping. So we do that very, very fast. So for accounting firms, auditing firms, that don't want to spend so much time, this design sprint method is important. Then leads to the POC, proof of concept or pilot. So there is at the end of that session, at 5 days, you get a blueprint, you get a roadmap, you get a prototype. 5 days. Okay? And then when you're ready, the third level will be the Digital AI Labs program. DIAL, D-I-A-L. Not DIAL, DIAL. Okay, so when you dial means what? AirAsia came out with a concept that now everybody can fly, right? So we came out with the same mantra but different meaning. So now everybody can adopt or own AI, build their own AI capabilities. From where? From the step 1 and step 2. You build your own blueprint, you build your own roadmap in 5 days, the way Google does it. You Google design sprint, you will see the whole process. We facilitate it and we put things that we cannot build, we'll tell you upfront, we cannot build. Right? We will never plan something that we cannot build. That's the beauty. Right? So these are the 3 stages.
The working environment is going to be very different. You may not be bigger in terms of headcounts, yeah, but you could be substantially larger in terms of revenue. I'm telling you, you can probably, which we are already experiencing. We are the online kind of thing, cloud computing and things like that. And we thought that something like one experienced staff, accountant with about $4,000 to $5,000 can handle about 10 clients. But that is now, what we realize now is they can handle about 30 to 50 clients. You know what I mean? So in other words, our capacity to scale is humongous if we leverage on, and nowadays to use technology is not that difficult. Like I said, it's plug and play. It's no more like those things where you have to learn, like the accounting software or the audit program. You really have to master the whole thing before you can really optimize it. But now, no, it's so simple and it's so intuitive. So this is what I foresee in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah.
The outsourcing model is also using some technology to take over. Now, in this case, the business unit decided that now my front-end processing, for example, billing. Now, I have the SOP, and I know some of the process is manual. Manually look up for data and then key in, and then somebody have to check. So this whole SOP now being thought through, discuss with the service provider, use some form of technology, in this case, a very automated mapping process to map the whole process together. And when this data flow over to the service provider, you automatically generate that invoice, reminder, news report, and things of that kind. That's how it being processed. So, it's actually outsourced to a service provider who use some form of automation tool such as AI.
Those of us who are doing accounting work, outsourcing, the traditional way of doing is out. It's going to be out anyway, in a year or two, or perhaps sooner. Because you have apps, like for example, you can scan and get posted into the account. Accounting work is going to become almost minimal. Therefore, we can expect that kind of a change, right? So the current trend is doing finalization on an online basis. In other words, doing a virtual CFO services. Finalizing, no more data entry. Finalizing what has been already created.
AI takes in structured and unstructured data. It's always input, process, output, then you measure outcome, right? So input, what sort of inputs are we looking at will determine the output, right? So AI sits in the process side. So input comprises of structured, unstructured. Structured would be P&L, balance sheet, journals, ledgers, bank statements, right? Anything that can be looked at in a spreadsheet or in numbers and fields, that's structured data. And the unstructured data will be all the news in the social media, annual reports, notes to the financial statements, publications, right? Instagram, images and all that, those are unstructured data. So when you mix structured and unstructured data into a powerful set of combination, an AI engine cannot just give you visual. That's called BI, that's called business intelligence. They put you a dashboard, a pie chart, show percentage, show charts, very fanciful lines. Those are not AI, those are dashboards, right? Those are BI, business intelligence. Right, but when you talk about AI, you have a cognitive thinking system embedded that's able to analyze unstructured and structured data and then talks about the 4 levels. What happened, why did it happen, what can happen in the future, and what can we do about it. Alright? So when you talk about structured, unstructured, put through the AI engine, it goes through the 4 level. The weak AI talks about just describing, borrow a watch and tell you the time. That's weak AI. Strong AI is they think, they reason, they predict, and then they give recommendation. Right? So with that thinking in mind, the possibilities are endless. Auditors can, as has been established, is that they need it for audit planning, audit risk assessment, so that they can prepare their papers, can prepare their fieldwork, etc., etc. Can even do 100% testing in future, even right now, right? So for tax, is that okay? Prepare tax scenarios. What sort of scenarios will give you the minimum tax, assuming you acquire this company, acquire that company in this market, in that market, pursue new R&D activities. So it goes through the whole thing. You may be a business owner, you know everything, 30, 40 years of experience, but not your juniors, not the millennials, right? They need a tool to help them. So in the last MIA conference that I sat in, some of the questions that go in is, that went in, came across as, so the young people will be procrastinating, will be lackluster, everything is served on their plate, they are not exercising their brain, right? So this was one of the questions that came in. So you can view it as half empty, half full thing, you know what I mean? You can view it as a reactive thing where you let people just do their things and then let the technology tell them what to do, or you can turn it to a developmental thing, right? You can upgrade them, you can augment them, you can reduce their work but focus more on quality time, quality analysis, more complex stuff. Okay, so from audit, tax and all that, you can see the output varies. So if you're a MNC, even better. We do the balance scorecard when you do all the different HR, human capital, structured and unstructured data, remember? You can also take HR data. You can also take HR data to analyze. So when we did for one of the large JLC in Malaysia, right? It took us under 2 weeks to analyze 180 top management to prepare in time for a retreat about whether their leaders are doing effective or not before they decide to restructure and optimize people. We analyze HR data, pure HR data, salary grade, rotational, training, the other 2 investments into each trainee. Okay, these are all leaders, right? VP and above. So we analyze it and there was a conclusion, there was a recommendation. Right? So these are the kind of output that you can expect. The ability to predict, the ability to see the future, the ability to take preemptive steps to make sure that the risks and the opportunities are managed. You will not know this until you go through that process. That's what I'm saying. Reports. It can be reports, it can be chatbots, it can be in future hologram. It doesn't stop there. Whatever I showed you is only version 1.0. Right? You know what's hologram, right? Like I'm not here physically, but you can see me in blue color image, like an angel or some kind of spirit and soul talking to you. It's already happening, right? So chatbots, text-to-speech, instead of reading report, it can read out to you. Dear Miss Lim, your performance today has been excellent. Your company is doing well in these areas. However, there are some challenges happening, and these are the 5 things. That is speaking to you. Speaking to you one way, text-to-speech, right? But you can turn it to a chatbot, like a Siri thing talking to you. Again, through our partnership with IBM Watson since 2017, we have a chatbot in future to be released, right? After the reports have been rolled out, the reports will come alive. They'll be dynamic. It will not be a chatbot that talks FAQ. It doesn't tell you what time the office open, what time it closes. No, not that time. It talks to you based on a unique situation that your company is in. This is the future, ladies and gentlemen. With or without me here on stage, the world is moving towards this direction. This is the kind of output. It's endless, it's limitless, right? The imagination is only limited to your creativity and imagination, really. Credit bureau is doing it, right? GLCs are doing it. Banks, accounting firms, auditing firms are adapting it. Public listed companies, right? And even now retail investor. Retail investor meaning they want to invest in stock market, they don't know finance, they don't want to learn 10 years of finance, they don't want to do trading, they don't want to do speculation alone, they want to understand the fundamentals without going through finance. How do they do that? Everything gets disrupted. Let me tell you what you don't need to have. You don't need to have data scientists, you don't need to have huge investment, you don't need to have infrastructure for this. what you need is just data, and data comes in the form of structured, unstructured. It can be big or small. So about 5 years ago, when Accra in Singapore came to us, when XBRL was just launched, Accra is equivalent to your SSM, came to us and said, okay, we sell annual reports to the public at 25 Sing dollars, right? But we have these 7 lines of data, right? 7 lines of data that we don't know how to sell and what to sell. Why would people buy 7 lines of P&L and a bit of balance sheet, right? So over 4 years, I think we transformed that into a mini RoboCFO that's able to generate 20-30 page analysis, accurate and reflective of the situation that can be validated, tested, applied and all that for banks and professional. So the type of data you have, don't think that, hey, I only have this data, what can you do? First thing is to break that perception that you cannot do anything about it, whether it's HR data, whether it's, like say, today I put a camera with permission of Bursa, I put camera now, we can already analyze everybody in terms of their profile, map against registration, right? Scary but true. But we don't do that now, right? Because there's no purpose for us to go that deep, right? So what I'm saying is, imagine the criteria is, I don't have the data, a bit of data. I only have registration data, your name, your company, your designation. Let's say, company name, I can check, link to SSM, and they come out into MIA, information comes out, right? Person, link to your LinkedIn, pull, right? 200 of you, pull, LinkedIn information, your experience, which company you're in, your gender, etc., right? Not that gender is important, I'm just saying that you can profile that. So you have your registration, you have your LinkedIn, and you have your company information, all can be pulled, right? And then what happens? You come in the room, you sit down here. Some of you got up, some of you move a lot. We actually have a lot of live video to show the machine learning that looks at your skeletal vector of your body language and your thing. Then we analyze, right? Whether you are smiling, serious, posturing, up, moving, how many times per second, how many times per minute, right? So you have this, and then we have your feedback form, right? Right? Hopefully, only 10x% reply feedback. Okay, then we make a correlation about that. But instead of doing it over weeks and months, you can do it very quickly. If that is we're not doing it by the way, but I'm saying that we can do that. Now the camera is just focusing on us, right? But imagine if there's a camera, and it's not expensive. We partner with a Russian technology that is able to capture that and then turn it into structured data. So we are trying to do that for many institutions like shopping malls, highway, toll operation, retail, etc. Yeah, and banks even. If you have an existing ERP system, accounting software, MIS, whatever sort of things, and it produces some kind of editable data, right? You can download in CSV, can download in PDF, can download in whatever format. Or it can sit on itself, we can link through API. You need not replace it, all you need to do is produce the data and we can enhance it further. So there's no replacement cost, there is no capex cost, there is more towards the extension of the information that you have to build. So give you an example, e-commerce data, right? So a particular retail giant in Indonesia basically have an ERP system. We download all the delivery data as a flat file, 24 million data, talking about these goods go to this good from this supplier to this manufacturer, at what time, at what price, at which location. Simple data like that can be turned collectively into a AC Nielsen, like a market research, market intel, projecting the products that you're going to buy, the profile of the person, the personality of the person, etc. So we don't kacau or we don't disturb their ERP. We use the information there and we produce. Likewise, if you have an SAP account, SAP system, or a YOB, or QuickBooks or whatever, right? Xero, for example, you can turn that into something more CFO-centric or reporting-centric, including the roadmap. Affordability. Okay, the perception is that it takes a long, expensive journey to adopt AI. We've done the market long enough to know that, as I mentioned to you, a retail investor report can cost as little as 50 ringgit plus a profiler of 5 ringgit. 20 ringgit can give you a quality assessment of a company's investment, or rather investing into a company like the stock market in all the various exchanges in the world, not just in Malaysia, right? So we did some surveys so far, studies so far, an audit report, right? And robo-auditor that does the audit risk planning and all that can range between 50 to 150 ringgit, right? Just to do one report, while you can charge people, X $1,000, the cost is just fraction, right? Audit, but go for volume. Because we don't just want to benefit one company, we benefit hundreds of companies and thousands of companies underneath it, right? So for the PLC, they want to do more canggih stuff. Oh, I want an 80-page report that does valuation, 5 competition analysis, financial prediction, financial roadmap, blueprint, everything 80 pages long, right? It could cost as much as $1,000 plus US dollars, right? Or 750 US or something like that, right? That's 750 US. That means it's like 6 months of work you can reduce into a single day session. So it's very profound in terms of cost, right? Then if you don't build your own solution, okay, you build your own AI, how does it work? We determine the value or the cost of the development work. We don't charge you upfront for the capex. We amortize it over 5 years. So let's say the cost is 100,000 US. We don't charge you 100,000 US. We charge you maybe $1 per transaction, right? So the perception that, oh, it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's complicated, okay, we cannot do this, we cannot do that, we remove all that. We disrupt it by thinking out of the box and build solutions around it. So affordability, remove, complexity, remove, expertise, remove. What you need is just data, clientele, and the platform to build it up, right? So what we are doing here is to make sure we democratize the information. A VC once asked me, or rather I once asked many VCs, and some of these VCs answered me unanimously, not some, all of them unanimously answered me. I asked them, would you like to invest in a company or like a company that has one contract with a bank that gives you 500,000 US a year, right? Per year, one bank, tier 1. Do you like that kind of company? Startup, right? Oh, I can contract. Or do you like to see a company that has 500,000 users paying $1 each per year? Right? But unlimited leading, cash flow not that good, got cost. All of them say the second one. You know what I mean? IBM Watson changed their model. IBM changed their model completely from very capex to a 0.001 cent per API call. Why? Why is Microsoft doing that? Why is Alibaba doing that with their cloud business? So this is the way we also got to evolve, right? So if I come to you and anyone on my team come to you and say, oh, it costs you $100,000, no way. That's not our business model. And we are not a database company. We don't keep data. You pump, we push out, right? And any kind of data we have, we just publish it as an aggregate, but we don't use your data. We're not interested to get your clients or who your clients are, we don't need. We just need to process for you. We become a trusted platform, you put in, you put out, and then we expunge it. Because we don't have the server storage to keep all this data. We are on cloud anyway, right? Secure otherwise, but the plan is for you to keep your own client, grow your own clientele base, and we build around the asset for your clientele.